and we look at the adoption rate, it's still incredibly low. It's only about 5% of the global population that own crypto at this stage. The more people who buy it, the higher the prices.
Wormhole is critical infrastructure that every stablecoin needs to be successful. So you no longer can issue a stablecoin.
You mentioned before, you said in the beginning we wanted to launch a better Bitcoin. What is XRP? Explained simply.
Well, XRP is another cryptocurrency, right? It was created before, Ripple.
You can't just issue an asset and then be like, all right, we're done. Let's just let it be. You gotta really figure out how to get that asset to be used, how to make sure that there's liquidity for the asset.
Investing, I have I have kids and they invest in different things. They do believe in it, but I'm president, and what I did do there is build an industry that's very important. And if we didn't have it, China would.
They try to shake me out, but I was born ready. Dropping down the price, then I be getting plenty. They want all your bags and they want all them empty.
What's up, good glitches? Welcome back to some more Moon O'Clock news. No breakfast, no coffee, just straight extra bullishness. Shout out to the latest sub. Appreciate you stopping by, tuning in. Don't forget to drop an elbow from the top ropes on that likey button. We got XRP currently right around $2.20. We had the news drop 18 hours ago. The Ripple's dropping the cross appeal, and the SEC is expected to drop their appeal, as they said previously. We're closing this chapter once and for all and focusing on what's most important: building the internet of value, locked in, last chance to load up on the greatest opportunity. Your window's closing. So the fact that Ripple was ready with the decision less than a day from the Torres ruling means it is these heavily planned for this scenario, discussed it with the SEC, and made whatever agreements, discussions necessary for moving forward. Thank heavens it's all over. The best is still yet to come. Crawl, walk. Then we rock it. 3-digit, 4-digit, 5-digit XRP. En route. We got one from Cointelegraph. Robinhood launches micro futures contracts for XRP and Solana. XRP, the standard digital asset investor. Looks like Ripple just leveled up with a new partnership with Wormhole. Wormhole is critical infrastructure that every stablecoin needs to be successful.
Wormhole is critical infrastructure that every stablecoin needs to be successful. So you no longer can issue a stablecoin. So think about any stablecoin maybe you as a listener are interested in. They're just on one chain. To start, that's fine. But in a long term, they will not be competitive, and they likely will not be successful if they stay on one chain. So Circle kind of proved this model over a couple years of just USDC building their own very centralized bridge. Circle controls everything, centralized bridge, because they realized that blockchains are a little bit different than banks. They're a lot different than banks, excuse me. But at least for this particular thought exercise, they're like these economic zones. Liquidity, users, a lot of them stay on one of these blockchains. And so it becomes on-chain. Don't think about Solana, don't think about Ethereum, don't think about Sui. On-chain becomes the total addressable market. It becomes the crypto market. And so if you are a stablecoin issuer, you're issuing on one chain. The critical technology that you would need next, I would argue, is a core part of your stack. I think M0 would say the same thing, is the interop protocol that's going to make you go from one chain to all the chains. And I'll zoom out a little bit here. So Wormhole, we are an exclusive partner for Fiddle. So BlackRock issued a money market fund on chain. It's actually, I believe, the largest real world asset on chain today in terms of assets on chain. I believe it's in the 2 to 3 billion mark. And it's a money market. They use Wormhole exclusively. And the reason why is because institutional investors, or just institutions more broadly, when they come into crypto, there's a number of reasons. Tokenization has a lot of reasons, right? There's fractionalization. You no longer potentially have to go through some broker, have minimums. You can have someone invest for $10 million or $10,000 instead of $500,000. There's a lot of reasons for tokenization. We don't need to get into that. But another reason why is because they want to tap into the crypto market, right? It's a growing market of investors that exist across all these chains. So if a stablecoin issuer comes along and says, we're going to be a big stablecoin on Bearchain or Solana or Sui, that's great, but they definitely need to have plans to be on all of the chains if they're going to be successful.
Banks, institutions on their way to pump our bags up. Mr. Shift Ripple, how we built crypto solutions banks actually trust. Riz XRP, a better Bitcoin. XRP, faster, cheaper, more efficient.
You mentioned before, you said in the beginning we wanted to launch a better Bitcoin. What is XRP? Explained simply.
Well, XRP is another cryptocurrency, right? That was created before, Ripple. But, the key things that we think about, put all of the applications that are being built on crypto, put aside all the ideas about it being used for payments. What are these things? They're kind of a new financial product. I think that's, in my view, supplements, the world of many, many other financial products. They're an additive, right? They're a lubricant to the world economy. So in some ways, a lot of the industry gets a little carried away with the rhetoric about, oh my God, revolutionizing everything. I get it. That's kind of, it can be a rallying cry. But, we have this very complex world dominated by all these fiat currencies from countries. And along comes this cryptocurrency that doesn't belong to any country. That's really, in a way, low level and simple. What I mean by that is it's not carrying all the muck of the country, right? Any country's currency, it isn't just, how much are they printing, or how much are they destroying, or what are their interest rates? But it's all the values of that country, the restrictions, the capital controls, you name it. Every country has its own set. So that dollar or the RMB or the yen or the euro, it carries all that muck along. Not just muck, good stuff and bad stuff, but it's very heavy. And the beauty of crypto is very simple. And it doesn't inflate, and it's straightforward, and anybody on the planet can kind of figure it out. And there's all the open source stuff of what's going on. And, there aren't all the kind of societal values going with it. That is very cool. It's more in line with kind of internet protocol, which, internet protocol is very low level and simple. That doesn't mean stuff building on top of it won't be complex. Facebook and Google and AI is super complex, but the fundamentals are very low level. And that's really good for the world. And that's what makes it unique. So I think that's why it makes it a very useful technology. And at the same time, as an asset, just the notion that it's a store of value is a revolution enough, right? A lot of people are like, well, what is it used for? Like, okay, that's enough, right? The notion of something that can transmit value, but not inflate in this world, that is a unique thing. So whenever people say, well, what's that currency thing? What's it good for? It's like, are you kidding me? It's the fact that the world is valuing it anyway, we already know that these things are fundamentally valuable and will be a growing part of the world economy. That's a good thing.
XRP, 100,000 times more efficient than BTC. Know what you hold. We got Cointelegraph latest. Ripple is eyeing multiple new acquisitions after its 1.25 hidden road deal, while also planning major XRP ledger upgrades. Ripple's not slowing down. One deal closes, 3 more open. Wallet Joy Wallet has been approved by Wallet Connect. You can now use Joy Wallet on any of the platform that supports Wallet Connect, including XRP Cafe, Magnetic XRPO, XP Market, Bids, and many more to come. Cointelegraph bullish Rick Elderman urges financial advisors to allocate 10 to 40% of portfolios to crypto, saying it's now a mainstream long-term investment. You better be going at least 90%. I'm all in.
Today, I'm saying 40%. That's astonishing, right?
Yeah.
Nobody ever anywhere has said such a thing as what I'm saying now. Why the shift? It's because of the massive change in the evolution of crypto that we've enjoyed in the past 4 years. 4 years ago, we didn't know if governments were going to ban Bitcoin. We didn't know if the technology would become obsolete. We didn't know if consumers might not want to adopt it. We didn't know if there would be any institutional engagement. Today, all those questions are resolved. In the Trump administration, in the new Congress, there is massive support for crypto. Every member of the president's cabinet personally owns Bitcoin. Every major economic appointee of the president, the secretaries of Treasury, Commerce, Department of Labor, the heads of the SEC, CFTC, OCC, FDIC, all of them huge supporters of crypto. There's no longer a question as to whether the government likes this or not and is going to support the development. We also now see institutional investors engaging in ways never seen before. Banks are now permitted for the very first time, along with brokerage firms, to trade and custody crypto, which they could never do before. Stablecoins are now Goldman calls it the killer app of crypto. We now have a huge array going in, and in fact, the first legislation out of Congress is crypto legislation, the Genius Act. So it has radically changed. It is now a mainstream asset. And we look at the adoption rate, it's still incredibly low. It's only about 5% of the global population that own crypto at this stage. As more and more get involved, learn about it, discover it, and invest in it, we're going to see massive asset inflows. And because, and certainly in the case of Bitcoin, it's a fixed supply asset, the more people who buy it, the higher the price is going to rise.
The more people that buy it, the higher it's going to rise. Institutions on their way. The final dominoes are falling into place. XRP hidden in plain sight. Know what you hold. Lock and load before we explode. We got one from Vivek for real. President Trump just said Bitcoin and crypto is much more important than any other industry. What a time to be alive, especially if you're holding ZRPs.
Crypto bills pass in the next few months?
Well, it's a very funny thing, crypto. So I became a fan of crypto, and to me, it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president. And if we didn't have it, China would, or somebody else would, but most likely China. China would love to. And we've dominated that industry. It's a big industry, by the way. In fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less than anybody else as a group. And we've created a very powerful industry, and that's much more important than anything that we invest in. We invest in it, but really that was an industry that wasn't doing particularly well. I got involved with it a couple of years ago, and before the second term. I got involved before I decided to run. I only decided to run because I saw what was happening, and Biden was incompetent, and the administration was crooked and incompetent. And I was in Bitcoin then, not knowing if I was going to do it a third time. So it's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces. And I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar. And it's a great thing for our country. So I don't care about investing. You know, I have kids and they invest in different things. They do believe in it. But I'm president, and what I did do there is build an industry that's very important. And you know, if we didn't have it, China would.
What a time to be alive. XRP, July, we fly. Check this one out. We got BitHump trying to vote down the XRP reserve from 1 XRP down to 0.1 XRP. Object reserve 0.02 XRP down 10x from 0.02 XRP. And then we got the base fee 0002 XRP up 20x from 0.0001 XRP. Account reserves down 10x. Object reserves down 10x. Base fee up 20x. Voting stats. Stellar. Imagine sending low-cost payments internationally that settles instantly with PayPal's PYUSD on Stellar experiences just around the corner for shoppers and merchants. Stellar. Excellent. Speaking of Stellar, the work doesn't stop at issuance. Danelle Dixon wraps up her stable fireside chat on stablecoins with a reminder that the success means liquidity, usability, and choosing the right blockchain.
You can't just issue an asset and then be like, all right, we're done. Let's just let it be. You gotta really figure out how to get that asset to be used, how to make sure that there's liquidity for the asset, what is the value of the asset into the ecosystem that you're deploying. It's a really important piece of understanding which blockchain makes sense for you to deploy on first and what you're going to get from each of the blockchains. Stellar is really amazing for payments and asset issuance, and you really think about everyday financial services. Those are the kinds of businesses and entities that you're going to meet on Stellar and that you're going to be with on Stellar. And so you got to think, is that the right space? Hopefully it is. And those are all really good questions to think through when you're, as a bank, as an institution, thinking about where to deploy and why.
Mustache altcoins macro chart update for the total 2. Patience, folks. S&P 500 is already making new all-time highs. Our time will come. I hope you've been loading up on the greatest opportunity of multiple lifetimes. And the longer they take, the higher we keep climbing on that XRP rich list. And it only takes a small piece of the prize to take us to the promised land. According to the XRP calculator, how much is your XRP worth by Susan Athey, board of director of Ripples and Robert Mitchnick, Stanford graduate, School of Business. If the total estimated daily transaction volume in trillions, if we only did 0.01, which would equal 100 billion in total estimated daily transaction volume, it'd take XRP to $392.42. All the money, all the value, and this is just a small piece of the prize that takes us to the promised land. Where will those bags be when that regulation jar of molasses finally breaks open and XRP's true price is finally revealed? We'll catch you up here on the mothership. I am the XRP Bagman, the Moon Commander. Appreciate you stopping by, tuning in. Don't forget to drop an elbow from the top ropes on the likey button. BYOB, bring your own bags, be your own bank, be your own boss. We'll see you at the tippy top. Later, glitches.
Hey, told you you missed it, them riches jump off that ghost train. Totally good, now we blasting up off this third plane. Took the cheats and the codes and now we all run the game. Spit be splitting them split ups, deep state they getting drained. Jump in the pool of all these gains. Jumping, we shooting in slow motion like we Max Payne. We flipping, getting digits, 589K, we in this. Yeah, we wealthy, filthy, rich in this bitch. And these hoes don't know it, you didn't notice that we ghosting this hoe. They build the tunage, you need a tune up, hoping that they freaking hear it and you tune it. Ayy, 4-3 to earth and we moving like we the frequency. Bagging these bags and now we living that so equally. Adam and Eve, they GMO the apples. Batman back in this 4-3-2 and all the samples. Jump on that saddle, we waking up all the cows.